Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Immersive Engineering, the Crusher. So, the Crusher is an item that allows you to double your ore output, and it's actually not that expensive. You do need access to steel for it. As you can see here, there are multiple stages for creating this device, but it primarily uses light engineering blocks, which are mostly iron and copper. Therefore, it shouldn't be too intensive. It does require a bunch of steel scaffolding and the like, but it's not too bad. Now, the ingredients you'll need is 10 steel scaffolding, 1 redstone engineering block, 10 light engineering blocks, 8 steel fence, and 9 hoppers. So you see it's very iron intensive, but not too steel intensive with the scaffolding and the fence. Plus, of course, an engineer's hammer to convert it into a multi-block structure. Your first level is just going to be some of these light engineering blocks in almost an F pattern if you're looking at it here. And you're going to want to keep in mind that when you start building it, these two here, this is going to be your front right here in this spot here that I just smashed. So that's going to be your front, and that should help you out, as well as your power is going to come out of this block here, and you'll have an on-off lever there. Now, I am, of course, putting these blocks willy-nilly right now. This is not where they go, but just so that you have an idea when you're placing it down, so that you can see. Because obviously when it's done, it's easy to tell, but not when you're first setting it up, and you don't want to put it down backwards. So you just put it down a bit of scaffolding and some light engineering blocks as such. Then, simple enough, you put down a ring of steel fence. Very simple. A little bit of light engineering block in the middle, and then you just duplicate that same line of light engineering blocks there. One more here, kind of making a T shape of light engineering blocks. Then your redstone engineering block as such. Top it off with a bunch of hoppers on top facing down, and you should be good to go. Now you'll notice that there is actually 1 block missing on the second level. That is supposed to happen. It's okay. And if you want to turn this into a structure, you will need to right-click there on one of the fences. On either side, on the middle fence, should convert this into a multi-block structure. Now, first thing I'm going to tell you, don't go in the top of this thing, because I'm in creative, and if this thing has power, it will crush you, destroy you, and potentially, depending on what you have set up, it might also destroy your items. So you don't want to mess around with that. I recommend first thing you do is cover this thing with something so that you're not going to just automatically walk into it or something, and only have it being input with whatever you need. In this case, let's see if I can actually get this to perform the way I want it to here. It's pushing me around as a conveyor belt. Let's try this here, and then there we go. So like so. Therefore, if you also limit what is currently going into it, then it should be a much safer creation. Now, I just used a bunch of grass. It doesn't really matter what you use, but therefore, I can't fit in there anymore. Even if I get stuck on one of the conveyor belts going up to it, I'm not going to need to worry about being drawn into it by accident and getting all my stuff destroyed. So I recommend that you do cover it in some way so that you don't mess up what you do. But it can be useful in many ways. For instance, if I take, let's say, a creeper. Let's put a friendly little creeper buddy here. There we go. Easy. He's going to go in and nothing, because there's no power. I planned that, don't worry. Over here, I have power going into this one right now. You can see it has 32,000 flux going into it at the moment. Switch it back to day. There we go. And with that, it will be able to currently function. Now, it processes things, a lot of things. It will crunch mobs, as I demonstrated here. Allow me to get rid of this guy. Get out of here, you. But you can also use it to process materials. So it can be multiple uses. You have a on-off lever here. You can also invert how that on-off lever is working just by shift clicking with your hammer. But otherwise, up on the top here, you will get, let's grab one of these little LV wire connectors. Right here is where your power input is, and therefore you want to connect to that so that this can start functioning. Then this hole here is where you will need an inventory or something to pull out from. Now you can, of course, put chests in the way here so that it'll just feed instantly into a chest, or you can take a conveyor belt and have it instantly pull out from this device. And you can, as I show here, have conveyors going up into it, or other item pipes, whatever you'd like to have it dropped in there. You could have a hopper dropping things in, whatever. But it works really well. And I also added in a little breaker switch here just so I could shut off power to it if I so desired. It does kind of eat up a bit of power, but it is well worth it and not required to have much power. Actually, let me see if I can kind of back off here. So as I have here, 1 to 120 flux per tick is what this will have for increasing its production speed. You only have to have 1 flux per tick going in. You just have to have some kind of power going into it in order for it to even start processing. And it will, slowly. It takes in like 80 flux ticks, or chunks. So therefore, if you eventually get 80 flux in its storage, which it stores 32,000, then it will use that to process one ore or item. So the more flux you have being fed into it, the faster it will process things up to a maximum of 120 flux per tick. Now, with that in mind, you can actually have up to 256 flux per tick being fed into this machine for power. So you can overpower it, and it's still not going to get any faster. So you don't have to have that. But what I did find for a very easy setup is just having 3. You don't even need to connect here, but you have 3 of the thermoelectric generators, and you take some of that uranium that you haven't been using too much of, turn them into blocks, put some water on the sides here like you see here, and each one of these thermoelectric generators is currently getting double, so it's like U92, the uranium blocks is facing both of these. Then I added in 1 more, and they're getting both ways. It's getting in about 120, and that keeps it steady. So right now, the power is, I believe, off. There we go. It is currently disconnected. So as I use this, it's going to start processing things. Now, in this case, let's see if our creeper buddy here is going to be processed. And he gets eaten inside. And you can see that some of the power was used for that process. It uses it up quite quickly, but it can do so. And you can see it actually output the mob's drops. Lots of gunpowder, which I don't have currently set up in our system, in my sorting system here, but that's a different video. So with this in mind, let's move this out. So you can see that is one way of doing it. And if I were to start this running, right now I have a whole bunch of different ores in here: coal, emerald, uranium, nickel, silver, lead, bauxite, copper, which bauxite equals aluminium, and another quartz ore. These are just examples of some stuff that it will start feeding in. And I currently have this just being sorted into different directions with this router, and then being processed over here, fed into an external heater for processing, and going into respective crates and chests as needed. So I'm going to flick this on, and you'll start seeing everything going inside as it goes up the little conveyor belts here. I just love how this stuff looks. It's really fun. And you can see it has multiple things being processed inside, and the power is running out quickly. Now it will, over time, start, processing all the items. But as it is, it ran out of power. So I'm going to turn this on, and you'll notice that the power level will actually stay even because of how much I have currently going here. And there you go, 603. And therefore it is processing things. Things are currently being spat out, and you can see it's processing 1 ore, 2 ores, and it's doubling them. Every time that it shoots one of those, it is currently going outside. And I don't actually have these all of these set up currently. There we go. Let's just kind of spit these out here, and it'll eventually go to where it needs to go. But anyway, not everything I have is currently set up, but you get the idea. Things go into the furnaces, they go round robin onto these. It's a little bit of fun here. The nickel grits being processed into an ore with hoppers going out underneath and into the crates at the end there. So that's pretty much how it is. And you could have this, plus I've got my valuables going into here. You can get quite a bit of stuff. I mean, 18 lapis lazuli from, 2 blocks. So you get, I think it's like 12 redstone and so on. It's pretty cool. And you could even use it as a mob grinder if you want. You just have to have your mobs being fed into it, and it will spit out the mob drops that they might drop here. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know that I always enjoy myself a little bit of immersive engineering. Hey there, buddy. How you doing? So don't forget to give a subscribe if you have not already, and spread the mischief on to others if you think they'll enjoy the video. And until next time, folks, I'll see ya.